That's crazy.
All right.
About by a couple cents.
Stick that light on.
Let's go ahead and get started. All right, while y'all were at lunch, I went ahead and finished up the spreadsheet. So that way we can just kind of go back and I can kind of explain what I did and we can make a few adjustments. Okay, so what I have done, I've added a few additional sort of bells and whistles to it. So now this spreadsheet will allow us to have a variable interest rate so that we can change the interest rate every single month if we choose to, okay? We can also incorporate the prepayment penalty by effectively all we have to do is type in whatever the prepayment month is, and it will automatically tell us what the lender's yield will be for that specific month by indexing the cells. Also, it takes into account or calculates the rate of return for every single month kind of on a running basis, and then we can kind of pick and choose the month that we want to sort of investigate. So here's what I'm going to do, to kind of walk you through what I have done, and then we'll kind of help you to create those individual cells. All right, so let us start. Probably the easiest place to start is here back at our column G, lender cash flow column. All right, now the 97,000, it stays just the way that it was. Okay, but everything below that is going to change, and we're going to introduce a few new concepts that I'm going to explain step by step, and we're going to specifically use the if-then function. Okay. How many of you have never used an if-then statement before? Just out of curiosity.
In Excel.
In Excel. Okay.
You haven't heard it.
Okay.
I quit.
So, those of you that have ever done any sort of really even the super basic programming, there's this whole concept of if something occurs, then based on what occurs, that changes the outcome of what you do. Okay, so it's a logic statement is what it is. In Excel, what we are able to do is to sort of say, if this value matches this value, then we want you to do this. If it doesn't match, we want you to do something else. Does that make sense? Just conceptually. Ignore what's up here, okay? Focus on me and just in terms of the logic. All the cell references and that sort of thing, that's super simple once you understand the logic. Okay, so once again, what it allows us to do in this particular instance, or what we're trying to accomplish, is we're setting this up so that the spreadsheet can say if, in this case, cell A7, which is the period number, or in other words, that month, equals cell E4, which is what? Our payment month, then we want you to do some stuff. If it doesn't equal that and it's something else, we want you to do something different. Okay? So that's the first thing that you need to sort of understand is just that first piece. So why would we be concerned about this cell equaling this cell? Because of the prepayment issue.
All right.
Correct? Yes? You might follow that.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so if it is equal, in other words, if this period number is 60, which equals the prepayment period equaling 60, we're going to want Excel to do some calculations. We're going to want it to take the ending balance, effectively add on the prepayment penalty, and effectively add on the administrative fee, all and add that up into that cell. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Conceptually.
Yeah.
If it does not equal that, then we simply want it to take the monthly mortgage payment and add it to the administrative fee, and that's it. So that is what this is doing. So let's just kind of step through each of these. So in this particular instance, A7, if it is equal to E4, which it is not in this particular case, it skips this whole first set of procedures and goes to where the comma occurs and only performs this function of C7 plus E1. C7, okay, is our payment amount. So it takes and it adds that to the administrative fee, and then that would be the resulting number in this cell. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Okay? If, in this particular case, since it is not, that is what goes there. But in month 60, if we scroll down, to month 60, it is actually taking cell E4, okay, or that's saying that now it is over here, that is month 60, which equals the prepayment month of basically A66, those two equal each other. So now what we're going to do is we are going to add together the balance of the loan, we're going to add in the final payment of the loan, we're going to put in the prepayment penalty of the loan and the administrative fee and add all those together, and that is going to be the value that we're going to place in that cell. Does that make sense?
So
Okay.
now you can change that number to anything.
Yeah, so
you know.
here's the beauty of what I have just done. Okay, if we go up here, now I change this to, let's say, we'll just change it to month 1. Boom. All of a sudden now all the calculations are based off of that first month. I change it to month 2, month 3. So now it's pulling all the information directly off of that and also calculating the return off of that as well. Okay, it's a way to cell reference. Okay, does it make sense? Just conceptually, what we're doing. Okay, now, so in order to actually set up the index function, or I'm sorry, to set up the if-then function, this is the only thing you're going to need to type in. Once you've got this typed in, then hit enter, and it should pop up correctly the value of $927.57 for that first month. And then once we get that copied in, then we can paste it all the way down.
So delete what's in there right now?
Yeah, you just delete that whole column, or not the whole column, but you
Yeah,
can delete
yeah.
everything from basically period 1 to period 360. Okay? And replace it with this.
Can you blow it up a little bit?
Yep. Let's do it this way first.
I just want to get out of this, like.
There we go.
Good times, huh? Good times in finance.
I assume we're gonna have to memorize how to do this.
I'm going to walk you through, but I want you to get it into your machine first to make sure it works.
Yeah. I mean, all you put is fucking number. Yeah.
Okay, once you've got it typed in and you hit enter, if everything else that you've kept on the page is all the same, it should just, return the value of $927.57. Okay? If it gives you something different than that, well, you may have had some other inputs you may need to change, but that should be the value that it returns back to.
Now we just copying
My
it all the way
month
down.
60.
Well, I'm sorry?
My month 60 has changed, so it's like.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's this hashtag like rep.
That's okay. That's okay.
What do you want me to, the number symbol?
Okay.
They found a typo.
Hold on. That's like, oh my god.
Wait, this
That's
is
the second one. It did.
It didn't work.
It says false.
It just says false.
That's okay.
Wrong. Start over. Okay. Got it. Yeah.
Okay. So, once you've got that entered, okay,
Can you keep it up there just a few more?
Oh,
It's on the exam.
Mine went perfect.
should I drag it down there before you?
yes, once you've got it entered,
Take a
then,
picture.
then drag it down.
So false is okay to have?
It's okay for right now.
Okay, great.
Okay, fine. I'm in.
Drag all the way down, right?
Drag it all the way down.
Probably missing a comma or something.
All right, well, watch here. In that case, I will read it out to you and you can type it in. Okay, equal, if, open parentheses, A7 equals $, E, $4, comma, F7 plus C7 plus $E, $1 plus, open parentheses, F7 multiplied by $E, $3, close parentheses, comma, C7 plus $E, $1, close parentheses. Okay? Now, once you've got that entered, as I said, you should be able just to drag the bottom corner all the way down to month 360, okay? And then at this point, let's go back up to the top, okay? And make sure that you are matching up with the other numbers up here. So the loan amount that you should have in there currently is $100,000. The interest rate is 10%. Term is 30 years. The initial payment $877.57. The admin fee of $50. The loan origination fee of 3%. Prepayment fee of 5%, and prepayment month 60. Okay, so everybody match up with all the inputs. Okay, now go down specifically to month 60. And let's see what's going on. Okay.
You're in month 50.
Yeah. Right. Oops. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Because of the scale of this thing, hold on, let me zoom it back out. Just a
Come
minute.
off by a couple cents.
Okay. Okay, so in month 60, are you guys getting the 102, 330, 61?
No.
Okay, how many of you are getting it? I'm just out of curiosity. Okay. Okay, those of you that are not getting it, what are you getting?
Hashtag rep.
Okay, I'll come to
I'm
yours,
just off by a
okay?
couple cents. I got .73 instead of .61.
Okay. Not sure why that would be occurring. There's got to be something, once again, minor thing I'll take a look at.
Exact 102, 330.
Okay. Anybody else not getting it?
I have the same thing as Tyler.
Okay, let me look real quick, so I can figure it out super quick.
I think it's because of the formulas you put in the
Previous.
cell earlier. That's what I think.
Twitter stuff on
Hashtag.
And all of these are in the same order, in the same cells, it's fine, correct?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think so. Well, hold on, you put this,
We just added that in the bottom of it.
It's not reference anything, it was just to remember what. You read me your formula.
Okay, figure that mystery out. All right.
It's a plus sign.
Okay. So is everybody good with that?
Well,
Okay, now, the next piece. Okay, go to column H. Go to column H, cell 7. Column H, cell 7. Double click, or well, for me, double click. Okay, the formula, what we're doing here, okay, we are calculating the internal rate of return for the series of cash flows that occur. So what it does is it starts with cell G6, but we're going to keep that one constant, okay? Then from that point forward, it's just going to continually go down the page, pulling in all the numbers within the range, and then calculating the internal rate of return off of that. Well, that is going to be a monthly return, so therefore you have to multiply it by 12, okay? So if you actually just copy what I've got here, equal IRR, open parentheses, $G, $6, for the static cell reference, colon, G7, close parentheses, times 12, you should theoretically match up with that number. Somewhere close to it.
I have $11.89.
Yep, me
Yeah.
too.
That's because it's referenced as a dollar as opposed to a percentage. So you just need to go in and format it.
There we go.
So go to formatting and then change it to a percentage.
Drag.
Yep. Once you've got that, then you can drag it all the way down.
And you put that in.
Wait, say that again? You said click percentage instead?
Yeah, because if it's showing up as a dollar amount, then it needs to be converted to a percentage. So just go up to the formatting and change it to a percentage.
So mine rounded it to 1189.
Move the decimal.
Yeah.
Move the decimal over right here. This little thing right here kicks in the decimals. Okay? Okay, once you've got that, copy it all the way down the page.
So why are they getting an 11?
That return is meaningless, okay? The only return that's going to be meaningful is the one where the prepayment occurs, okay? If a prepayment occurs at all, okay? So like for example,
Can we enter in a if-then
Yes, well-
statement to get rid of all that other stuff? So if it becomes a prepayment, then you
no,
calculate it?
well, you could have it set to where it would be equal to 0, but
Hey, complicated.
let's,
Yeah, please.
okay. So, once again, as an example, if I entered the prepayment month of 1, see if now you match up, okay? Everybody matching?
Leave them alone.
Pretty good return.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's say, well, that's actually a very important point to sort of bring out. Yeah, it's a heck of a return, and why? Because they're getting the loan origination fees, and literally 1 month later, you're closing out the loan and having to pay a prepayment penalty. So obviously their rate of return is going to be out of sight because they're only lending you the money for basically a month. Thus, 109%. Now it's kind of interesting. Let's just kind of go in here. Is everybody matching with these numbers so that we can kind of play? Okay, Daryl, how?
I'm missing the prepayment, sale number 60.
Okay.
G66.
Okay, let me come back in a second. Okay. All right, so if we put it back at 60, just for a moment, everybody's, you're matching up with that one or not?
Yeah.
You are, okay, you are matching up with that.
Yeah.
But if I change it to 1, you're not matching.
Right.
Huh. What are you getting?
I don't have the formula for G66.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, all right, so you just need to copy that down.
Right.
Okay, all right, we'll go back to that. Okay, so the point is, let's take a look at it. If we did have it at month 60, let's kind of go back to that, and we go back up here to the administrative fee. Let's say we get rid of the administrative fee, we make that 0. Okay, that changes our lender's yield down to 11.15 or 11.5. Let's say we get rid of the loan origination fee. Kicks it down to 10.7. We get rid of the prepayment penalty. Should kick it down to 10. Well, that makes sense. That, in other words, if there's no prepayment penalty, there's no loan origination fee, and there's no administrative fee, then our lender's yield should be the same as what? Our stated interest rate. Everybody follow?
What formula is that under the lender's
Well,
yield?
yeah.
you didn't tell us that one.
We're getting there.
Oh, okay.
Okay? All right. I'm showing you on mine the beauty of this. Okay.
It is pretty beautiful.
All right. This is what I did while you guys were having lunch. I had
He made beautifulness.
Okay, so let's put the administrative fee back in there, $50. Loan origination fee, I think we said was what, 3%?
Yeah, 5.
Prepayment's 5. Okay. Now, to get the lender's yield, we go up here into cell F, type in lender's yield. Now then, the formula for cell G1, let me explain what this is doing. This is a cool function. The index function. It allows you to look up stuff on the Excel spreadsheet. And it's super simple how it works. Basically, equal index, open parentheses, and then what you do is you select the range of values that you're potentially going to be pulling from. Okay? So in this case, it's the rate of return column. So you highlight basically cell H7 all the way down to H366. Okay? So that's the first piece of this. Comma, cell E4 is saying, I want you, the computer, to kick back to me the value that is in that row for that particular range of value. So what it's doing is it's going up here, and it's cell E4 is month 60. It is basically counting down 60 rows to that value at month 60 and then popping it up there. Does that make sense? So as this number changes, like to 5, let's say, all right, so what it's doing is basically saying, on this array, I'm popping back up to you row 5. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
You know, in terms of being able to, that allows you to pull information from obviously a big spreadsheet and pop it up where you actually can see it and use it. Okay? Make sense? Okay? Now, let's add the final piece. Are you excited?
Why,
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes?
Why in month 1, if you put 1 up there for the prepayment, is it 109%? Are
Because
they making $9,870 on the loan?
roughly, something like that. I mean, because you're technically, the lender is writing a check for $97,000 at the beginning of the month. 30 days later, they're getting a check back for $105,000. And if you amortize that over the course of the year, that equates to about 109% rate of return. On a monthly basis, it's 1/12 of that. Was that not?
So if you divide it by 12,
Is that not making sense, or? Okay.
So if they were to get it every month?
If they were to get it every month, in other words, if that were truly what they did, that on an annualized basis, that is 109%.
But really it's a 9.87% return on, or cash on cash, like, they're giving you 97, you get 105, so it's 9.87% return.
No, they're, what, because over the course, if you were to, okay,
Yeah, I don't get it.
hold on. If we go and we change this to a monthly,
You think of 100% return, you think of,
Right.
it's actually a 9.15% rate of return per month.
right.
So you
But it
multiply,
ends at that month.
yes, but if you multiply it by 12 to get the annualized return,
But wouldn't you close out your loan after month 1 if that's what the intent was?
You do, but the assumption with returns, and this is where it gets kind of tricky, the assumption with this sort of a return is that theoretically, if you were to do this over and over and over and over and over and over again as a lender, that
I see, okay.
that would be the annualized.
Whoever the client was.
Right.
Okay, I got you.
So this is
Right.
by definition of IRR.
It's
You're
nine
talking
point
about
one
in terms of-
times 12,
Okay.
Right,
gives you 109.
okay,
That's why all the other rate of returns don't matter,
right,
if you're just looking at that, the
When you pay
the
for it.
payoff day with the
Correct.
prepayment penalty, and like month 2 up there, the 120 is
it's irrelevant,
irrelevant.
right, okay,
That's why you gotta put the if-then statement in there.
Right.
So it gets rid of all that.
don't tell me, okay,
Good client.
all right, now,
Anything after 60 is
okay,
Well, anything other than that one.
has everybody got the lender's yield piece in there, yes?
Or
Yeah.
Okay, is it working for you, the lender's yield piece? Okay, now, let's add the final piece, which is the changing interest rate. So go over in column I and create an interest rate column, but here's how I want you to do it. First, in the first cell, just type in, you can actually, if you want to, you don't need to, but you could cell reference the 10%, but it really doesn't matter because we're gonna be changing it, okay? What I would suggest you do is just type in 10% and get it where it's formatted correctly in terms of looking like a percent. All right, once you have that, then what I would suggest you do, there's more than one way to do this, but this is the way I choose to do it because it actually works really well to do it this way, is the cell right below it, just reference the cell above it. Okay? So in other words, in the cell right below, you just simply hit equal I7. And then copy that all the way down. Because like you'll see in the next one, it'll be obviously I8, I9, so forth. Now the reason I do it that way is as follows. Let's say in month 3, don't do this, but in month 3, I want to change the interest rate to 12%. See what happens? Is that everything that follows changes as well, but nothing before it will change. I can go down a couple of months later, change it to 15.
Wow.
A couple of months later, change it to 8.
Okay.
You follow?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the reason why I want you to self-reference the way that I did. Now I'm going to go back and just kind of get those all back to normal. Okay. Now, okay, so once you've got that in, okay, once you have that column set, here's what I want you to do. I made some other changes over here in the payment column. Okay, go to the payment column.
That looks lovely.
Okay, hold on, let me blow it up a little bit.
It's no longer equals before.
I told you I was busy during lunch.
Not after, but before.
Either way.
Okay, so go to cell C7 with a payment. Okay, you're going to change what is there. You're going to get rid of all the values there, and you're going to insert this. What you're doing, we explain why you're doing and what you're doing. We're basically going to be calculating a payment exclusively based on that row, based upon what the current interest rate is, what the current month is, so that ultimately, as you change the interest rate, it's effectively doing what we did with the calculator, which is every time you change the interest rate, you treat it as if it is a new problem.
Right.
And that's what this is doing, okay? So, type in equal, negative, payment, open parentheses, I7 divided by 12, which is your interest rate, which is the one that we put over there in column I. Okay, comma, open parentheses, $B, $3, times 12, which is the number of periods, in this case, 360 total. close parentheses, and then we do a little mathematical manipulation. Nothing complicated. We say for this first month, now ignore this for the moment, just hold with me. We understand the whole business of putting in the number of periods as being 360. That means 360 months, yes?
Yes.
So the part that I'm adding on is as follows. I'm basically saying, make that 361, so I'm adding 1 to it, minus A7, which is the number of, or the period number. Okay, let me kind of scroll over there. So what it's doing is it's saying 360 plus 1 is 361, minus 1 gets it back to 360. Okay, you're saying, well, why do you do that? Well, if we scroll down the page, what it's going to be doing is this one will now be 359, 358, 357, 356, 355, treating it as if it's a brand new loan every single period. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And we have to do that because the interest rate is changing every single period. Okay? Pretty cool, huh? All right, now, after we have done that calculation, then the final piece is simply to put in the current balance of the loan, okay? Which is going to be the beginning balance. So obviously, this becomes the new loan amount, new loan amount, new loan amount, new loan amount as you scroll down the page. Okay? So once you've got all this typed in, as is, once again, copy all the way down.
We're not supposed to, by the end of this, know how to actually make a spreadsheet like this, I hope, right?
You will.
We're gonna remember how to do all this.
That's where you go and you start ripping it apart.
Go back to the other one.
Okay. Which one?
The payments.
You wrote me a check for $100, no way. You guys don't want to put this together? I can do this all right now if you really want.
Yeah,
Okay.
do it for me, man. Totally, that's it. I'm in the same boat as you. Hashtag YouTube.
You two ain't gonna say enough here. The whole piece.
Hashtag group. Yeah.
Okay, got it?
Yeah.
All right. Now, let's go over to the interest calculation, because we had to make a small change with that as well. Okay? So with this one, we take the beginning balance times, and in this case, the interest rate, the interest rate that's over here in cell I7 divided by 12. Okay, this one we don't have to do any static cell references for because we want it to change as we copy it down the page. So once you've got this entered, then you should be able to once again drag, boom, done.
Done.
Okay?
It's done, son.
And then everything else was left alone. Okay? So once you've got that, then let's sort of test it, make sure it works. Okay. So, let's zoom in. Okay. So let's start with changing up some of the inputs, and let's just make sure that your model is conforming to this one. All right. So let's just start off with, once again, making the administrative fee 0. Let's make the loan origination 0, prepayment 0, and the prepayment month we'll make 10. Okay, so you should end up with a lender's yield of 10%, and just check on basically month 10. All your numbers are matching up here. 877.57, 829.90, 47.67. Everybody good with that? Mm-hmm. Okay, now let's go over to the interest rate column. All right, so let's change the interest rate from here at this particular point, change it from 10% to 7%. Okay, so if you did that, let's see if you match up now. Still, are you still getting a lender's yield of 7%? Are you getting the payoff amount or the total cash flow of 99,823? If you are, then there's a pretty good chance you did everything correctly.
Did I
Okay.
miss a step at the end there? I still have my 9% lender's yield at the top.
Okay. Did you put in the 7% as the interest rate over here?
I did.
Did you put in? Did you erase
I did not.
all of those? Okay.
There it is.
Okay. All right. Now, a version of this spreadsheet is already on Monster, or not Monster, is on Dropbox. Okay, so if you looked, it's there. All right, it's under mortgage model. All right, and it's just a different version. Does the exact same thing as this one.
We're safe, man.
So you can save this one, or you can potentially use that one. Now, if you take a look at it. I think it's just called Excel Mortgage Model, all right? Does the same thing, and let me blow it up here a little bit.
That's the traditional and the amortization tag.
Hold on, this thing, where I want it. But the point is, this model that I created as well, in one of the previous semesters, same thing. Basically, it does the same thing. This is a little bit nicer and cleaner than the one that we just created, but in essence, does the same thing. The only thing this one does that the one that we just created doesn't have this cute little graph of the principal and interest, and doesn't have this column that allows for Dustin's concern earlier about the extra payment. So here, you can actually go in and figure out month by month or year by year of inserting an extra payment and then seeing what that effect has on the outstanding mortgage balance. Okay? All right.
Will that allow you to do like just random extra
Yeah, you
payments?
could go in and just say, well, what if I paid an extra $2,000 a month? What impact would that have on the overall time that I would effectively needed to pay down the loan?
I got you.
Okay. All right.
What does that cell reference to though?
What?
Or is just, do you just type in $2,000?
No, you just effectively are just typing in a dollar amount. You can actually put it in, I think up here, optional extra payments,
Okay.
and change it to like 150 or whatever. Okay. So anyway, back to our model that we have created together. The whole point, here's my belief and philosophy on this. If I just give you the model, you don't have to do any struggling whatsoever, you have no clue what you're doing. None.
Yeah.
Okay? If you have to attempt to try to build it from scratch, you're maybe not going to get every little bit and piece, but hopefully there's enough in reserve up there in your brain that you're going to be able to go back and you're going to kind of be able to reverse engineer it and deconstruct it and sort of see, oh, this is what this particular cell reference does, this is what this particular formula does, and get comfortable enough with that so that you can then use it in the future yourself. That's the idea, okay? You know, do I expect that right this minute you're going to be able to reconstruct exactly what I've got up here? No. But do I expect that you're going to be able to probably at least do a basic sort of amortization schedule? Absolutely, okay? And then some of these extra little things that we've added on there, you know, you should be able to kind of begin to think about how you would be able to do that. It's all logic, and it's all just, you know, kind of getting yourself comfortable with what it is you're trying to put in, what it is you're trying to solve for. Don't try to make it more complicated than what it is. I know that when you go through this, initially, yeah, your gut reaction is, oh my God, I have no idea, I'm getting all lost. But what you need to do is if you spend 30 minutes probably just going over, a handful of those key formula cells, you'll be saying, oh my God, how easy is that? It's not that complicated, okay? If I can do it, you can do it, trust me, all right? Now, okay, any general questions about this model? Yep.
Well, I just have a question. When we do it on the final or midterm or whatever, we'll just have a blank sheet and we'll have to fill in like loan amount, interest, term, like all the.
Normally what I do is I'll leave certain key things empty and then you have to sort of figure out how to do certain things.
Okay.
Like typing the formula? Or just
Like,
Yeah, just typing.
yeah, figure out a formula for how to achieve something.
It won't be like, what's the value in B14?
It'll be like I'll give you the base model and then I'll ask you to do a couple of things to see if you know how to use the index
Well,
function.
that helps.
If you know how to use effectively the if-then statement. And the thing with the if-then statement, it looks awful at first, but once here's what I would suggest you do. For each of the variables that are in that if-then statement, write them out in the verbiage as to what they are, okay? Because, that's what I do whenever I'm trying to basically work with it, because it's nothing more than, applying the logic behind what it is that you're adding or multiplying to come up with that number. Okay, don't try to make it more complicated than what it really is.
Can we do it to that one right now?
So, what?
Can you do it to that one?
Yeah, so once again, in this one, if we start with this, okay, so if cell A7, which is the period number, is equal to cell E4, which is the prepayment month, okay, first of all, okay, is it equal in this particular line item? No, it's not. Okay, if it is not equal to that, then we don't do this first set of calculations. We do the second set, which is simply to take the payment plus the administrative fee and add them together.
So the way it's broken down is, if this is the case, then do this. If not, do that.
Correct. That's all it is. And this first piece simply takes and adds together basically the ending balance plus cell C7, which is the payment for that month, plus the administrative fee for that month. So just adding three numbers together, plus calculating the prepayment fee off of the ending balance. That's all it is. Super simple. We have done those calculations all by hand. Okay, so this actually should be easier than doing them by hand, because all you're really doing is having to cell reference where those numbers are on the spreadsheet. Okay, so what you should be doing is, you would go home and ideally pull up the spreadsheet and, and start to say, okay, let's label this, and what is it actually doing? And once you see the logic, it all becomes very clear.
And what did you originally call it? Like the super mortgage something?
Something like that, yeah. So monster mortgage model.
Monster mortgage model.
Okay.
Right.
What's it called, Monster?
No. So, okay. Any questions? We good with that? All right. So once again, you've got a copy of that on the website. All right. Now. Okay. So any other sort of follow-up questions with regard to what you need to be studying?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you tell me it's all of the above? Where should we have right up to by now? Where?
Okay.
Term.
If you have understood what we have discussed in class, you do not need to read.
Okay.
Okay? If you have not understood what we have done in class, you need to read. It's as simple as that. Okay? So if you've understood what we have done in class, what you need to be comfortable doing are the calculations that are contained on the Dropbox, looking through all those sample problems, looking through the videos for those sample problems, making sure that you are comfortable with doing those calculations using the calculator, then also making sure that you can, like we did a couple of weeks ago, do some of those calculations also in Excel, and also like we have done today, both obviously using the calculator as well as using Excel.
From the beginning of class till now, how far down on that sample question sheet should we be through?
You should be through, on the sample question sheet, it would be through the chapter 4.
Chapter 4. So if I haven't studied anything yet, go to chapter 4.
Off of the appendix, you do the appendix, and you specifically would do this chapter 4 set of problems, all of which are solved, and a YouTube video showing the solutions and explaining the solutions is there for you to be able to watch and to spend the time working
What are
through
the
them.
corresponding chapters in the book?
Effectively, it's the chapter on fixed rate mortgages and the chapter on adjustable rate mortgages.
Okay.
Chapters
So
1
you're
through
saying
4.
the midterm is similar to the one that's online right now on Dropbox that you have?
Pretty similar.
So, chapter 6, alternative mortgage instruments, we're not going over that before the midterm.
Correct.
Okay.
And the next class is the midterm.
Correct.
So we'll do 1 through what? Chapter 1 through 7?
No, it's
5?
let's see. Chapter 3, which is time value money.
Okay.
Chapter 4, which is fixed interest rate loans. Chapter 5, which is adjustable and floating rate loans. And the first 2 chapters are just kind of the intro chapters. Not a lot of material there, but they're some of the concepts that we talked about.
1 through 7.
Yep.
And then, what about chapter 8? You had us read that too.
The what?
You had us read chapter 8 last time. You said read chapters 1, 2, and 8.
Well, 8,
That was for the other book.
no, that's the other book. Yeah. Not for this class.
Wrong classroom.
Okay?
Is that what we're going into next, is the next class?
Right.
Okay, we'll talk about
We're,
that then.
yeah, we got 10 more minutes of this one, then we're going to that one. Okay. So for this one, you've got a copy of last year's midterm, also on the website, on the Dropbox. Last year's midterm was about 33 questions. It looks like the 25 of them were computations, and then the rest were conceptual. And
Is that
so
Excel and calculator, or one of the other?
it was a little bit of Excel, but mostly calculator.
Okay.
But like, for example, if you look at the conceptual questions, what are the 4 primary income sources for lenders for mortgage loans?
Admin, loan.
Prepayment penalties,
Origination.
loan origination fees,
Administrative
admin
fees,
fees,
and
and the interest. Okay, that's pretty simple, isn't it? Okay,
I don't know, that was tough. I wouldn't want that on the test.
that's what was on the test last year. Okay, what is the primary benefit to the borrower that has non-recourse financing on their projects?
They're not personally responsible.
There you go. Okay, why would you expect a different default rate on an interest-only mortgage versus a fully amortized mortgage? Because you're only paying interest, and in essence, as we were talking about today, the lender or the borrower can just walk away from the loan, so there's no real skin in the game. Okay. Explain why many loan originators in the fairly recent past would not have been overly concerned the borrower would be able to cover their payments beyond the first few months after loan origination. How would you think this problem could be resolved? Well, this is the whole thing of what we talked about. Where lenders are effectively making loans, they don't really care because the loans are being sold off into the secondary mortgage market, so what do they care? All right? And how could that problem be solved? Well, hold them accountable somehow financially with respect to if they've made a bad loan, they've got to own it, obviously, for the lifetime of it.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the potential benefit of the borrower of cross-collateralizing their loan portfolio? We talked about this a couple of weeks ago.
Get cheaper interest rate.
Potentially a cheaper interest rate. Okay. What is the purpose of a lockout provision on a commercial real estate loan?
Interest rate won't rise?
No,
You can't prepay within a
you
certain
cannot
time frame.
prepay. Okay, the lockout provision in a commercial real estate loan precludes you from prepaying that loan. Okay, and the reason is the lender wants to maintain their specified rate of return. Okay, question 32. If you were a lender that was underwriting a loan for a highly energy efficient building, explain what concessions or adjustments you might make on this loan when compared to a typical building. Well, we did a spreadsheet about that last week in the development class that did specifically that, didn't we? What were some of those different concessions? You got a lower interest rate because operating expenses were lower, okay? So those kinds of things, all right? And, okay, this one is obviously an open-ended kind of question. Based on the concepts we've discussed, which one is proven to be the most interesting to you and why? Pretty open-ended. Tough question. Okay, so those are examples of the kind of conceptual questions that, you know, based on stuff. I mean, did we not talk about all that?
Yeah, we do.
Now, before you, the midterm is next class, or there?
Yeah, well, it's 2 weeks from now.
Valentine's Day.
Well, so next finance class will be the.
Yeah. So 2 weeks from now. Or, well, February the 14th, whenever that
Our
is.
next class.
The next time we meet with this class.
Yeah.
February.
Wow, it's on the.
Well, actually, you're off on the 7th.
Yeah.
So it's the 14th.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day.
Well, we do not have any classes on February the 7th. That is a day off. Thus, a day to prepare
When are
yourself
we doing our project?
Next weekend.
next weekend.
Okay, we have class, okay. okay, that's not-
Wednesday, what, you released it on Wednesday, you said, or Thursday?
It'll probably be Wednesday. Okay? All right. Now, we can work on one or two more of these as examples, just to sort of give you an idea.
For uses, we should go classes,
Right. For both development classes. There's a different one for the
I'm not
finance
taking the next one.
class. Okay. So let's see. Let's just sort of do a quick little self-test on a couple of things. All right. Assume that you're given a cap rate of 8%, and you're told that you've got annual potential gross income of $100,000. You've got vacancy and collection losses of 20% of PGI. We've got $15,000 of other income. We have total operating expenses are 25% of EGI. I want you to calculate what is the value of the property.
890,000.
Okay, oops. Okay, so let's see what we have to do. So the first step, 20,000 is going to be our vacancy and collection losses. Subtract that out. So we end up with effective gross income of $95,000. Our effective gross income is $23,750. Our total operating expenses is $23,750. Leaving us with net operating income of $71,250. So therefore, if we put it into good old IRV, our income is $71,250. Our cap rate is 8%. Therefore, our value is $890,625.
Those are good questions right there. Much better than the other.
Yeah, we like this.
Okay? But fairly straightforward, all right? In terms of you're given a few pieces of information and then asked to kind of go through and apply the basics, okay? Let's see. Okay, like a debt service coverage ratio, which we did a couple of weeks ago. So let's say that you've got a property that's generating net operating income of $50,000. All right, and the lender is willing to make you a loan based on a debt service coverage ratio of 1.35. Calculate the maximum loan amount that you could obtain on the property, assuming the loan is a 30-year term with a 5% interest rate, and assume monthly payments. Okay, so those are the four pieces of information, and you're being asked to solve for what is the maximum loan amount, all right, on this particular property. So what are you going to do? Okay, first thing, if we remember, debt service coverage ratio, we said is 1.35, and that is equal to the net operating income divided by annual debt service. So if we know that our net operating income is $50,000, then our maximum annual debt service is $37,037.04. Yes?
Yes.
How'd you get that? Okay. 50,000 divided by 135 equals 37,037. Okay. All right. Once you've got that number, then you can divide that by 12 to get monthly debt service. Of 3086.42. So that is going to become your monthly payment with your 30-year loan at your 5% interest rate, and then just simply solve for the loan amount. Okay? Okay, so you should end up with $574,943.31 would be the maximum loan amount that you would actually be able to obtain on that property, which is not the property value, just the loan amount. If another piece to the question could be assume a maximum loan to value ratio of 80%, then what would you have to do? Take this, divide it by 0.8, and that would give you the maximum value of the property, or the anticipated property value. Okay? What you need to be able to do is that with each of these basic formulas is you've got to be able to go front and back. Okay? You've got to be able to sort of take those key pieces of information, Figure out what you're given, and then figure out how to get to what effectively you're being asked to solve for. My advice would be, once again, go through, review all the videos, review all the problems, and at that point, you should be in pretty good shape to be able to handle the little midterm, okay? All right?
It's light work.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yep.
If you pull up the midterm online, does it say which questions are to be done in Excel and which are gonna be on the calculator?
No, I do that here once we're here in class.
Okay, so we should attempt to do them all theoretically after.
You have an answer key for the,
Nope,
No entries online?
nope.
How do we check ourselves?
That's not the idea for the midterm. That's the purpose of the sample problems.
Is there any way to get one of those up there?
No.
Some of the same questions might appear.
Exactly. Thus your motivation for trying to work through them. Okay?
What's my motivation?
Okay, all right. With that, we're done with the finance class, so let's
Time to
change
switch
gears
up.
to the development class. We're gonna take a 5-minute break.
I can't go home real quick. But,
Oh, that's for the ones